Hello, Hollywood Times listener. Today we welcome country singer, songwriter, and self-proclaimed foodie Grace Leer. Hi, Grace. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are
I'm pretty good.
you?
Pretty good. Let me tell you, when I saw this little PR thing that came across for you, I'm like, what in the heck is a EP cookbook? And who is this? And I go, that name sounds familiar. So you got some background, but this is so fascinating. I just can't wait to, hear all about it. So,
Oh, thank you so much.
so let's go ahead
Yeah,
and let's talk about it.
so the Taste with Grace, Taste with Grace was born actually through my fans. It was such a fun thing during quarantine, after American Idol. Everyone was still at home, and one of my favorite things to do is cook. I grew up cooking, grew up in the kitchen with my mom. My grandma was a baker, had her own bakery in Minneapolis, and so just grew up around the kitchen a lot. And one of my favorite things to do just by myself is to cook. I find it really relaxing and just kind of my happy place. And so I decided to go live on Instagram one night and make my dinner. And I didn't think it was going to be anything special. It's just me in my apartment kitchen in Nashville cooking. And it ended up being really fun and a way to connect with my fans, in a different lane other than music, and something that we all can relate on, which is, we eat every day. So
Yes.
it was really, really fun. And it just turned into this fun thing. I would go live on my social media and just cook and catch up with fans. And, that was all the way back when I just got off of American Idol and was starting to hit the writing room. And so it became this way to check in along this wild journey of almost 3 years that it's been. And now with the EP out, when we released the project, I wanted to give the fans something else. And that other part of me is cooking. So we decided to create a digital cookbook. Anybody can grab it. It's, don't have to pay for it or anything. And what I decided to do was give each song on the EP, which has 7 songs, I decided to give each of them a recipe to go with the song. So people can listen to my music and make some dinner or make something in the kitchen.
So, that's what it's amazing. I mean, even like when we cook, I like to have music, so I'm not even realizing that they can go together. How did you choose which of your songs for which, recipe?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I just decided to go. I actually had a lot of help from my sister. My sister Anna, she's my older sister. Her and I, we are always collaborating on recipes. We're sending things back and forth. Oh, did you try this? I found this. Oh, do this next time. And so I actually went to her initially and said, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you help me think of some ideas? And so I picked some, favorites of mine that I grew up with. But I wanted to make sure, yeah, they tied into each song. So, for example, Brought a Girl, which was my first single,
Mm-hmm.
I actually chose my mom's curry chicken pasta salad that we grew up on. But I actually brought a girl as a true story. And I actually did make that pasta salad and brought it to the party where everything happened at this party. And I ended up writing a song about it. So I just thought it was fitting that that was the recipe that went with the song because it was actually at the party where he brought a girl. So that's an example. And one of my favorites of the cookbook is my Grandma Bonnie special K bars, um, which is something that she left behind, all different treats, but that's probably my favorite. And with ones before me, it's all about these country artists and legends that have come before me in country music. So I decided to pick a person in my life that came before me and that still lives on, in everything that I do. So that's Grandma Bonnie's special K bars. So a couple of examples, but it was definitely hard because I also wanted to balance out, I didn't want to have too many desserts or too many entrees, or, I wanted to have really easy things like my smoothie in there that I make every day, and a cocktail. So I had to make sure I balanced it all out as well.
I know you got the song, the one with the filthy
Yeah.
martini. That's like,
Yes.
seriously? That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah. That dirty martinis, those are my favorite cocktails, and they're strong. So I feel like you need that when the person you thought you're going to end up with marries someone else.
Oh my gosh. And then I love I love after one pizza. Who doesn't want pizza late at
Oh,
night?
oh, exactly, exactly. So yeah, I kind of tried to think of clever ways to tie in food to the songs, and I will say the hardest part about this cookbook was making all the videos for them. I've done music videos, I've done things on TV and stuff like that, but I've never cooked in front of a camera other than going live.
Yeah.
But actually filming each recipe, it was so hard. And I have so much respect for people that, that these cooking shows and everything, because it is so much prep and organization, and then you're waiting for the meal to cook, and then you're cleaning to move on to the next one. And I was on my feet for almost 8 hours filming each recipe to put on YouTube. And the only thing I can compare it to is like Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, when you've been in the kitchen all day and you're like, why does my back hurt? And because I've been standing hunched over the stove for this many hours. That's how it felt at the end of this day. I was just exhausted, but I wanted to make sure people could watch me make each one. So it was fun.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point that you brought that up, because I've watched a couple of them already, and I'm like, oh my God, she's a natural. It makes it look so easy. But
Thank you.
It came out so good.
It's a lot. Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of preparation and something I'd never done. So again, it was good for me to start this journey into the food and cooking world, and hopefully it continues on. And I feel like it has to be a tradition now with all the music that I will continue to put out. I need to create more recipes. So
that is amazing. So you want to torture yourself more 8 hours a day to do
exactly.
some because they came out amazing. It's congratulations. This thing's gonna start a a trend, as they call it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You were mentioning your sister, because I see one of your songs, "Meant to Be," says "My sister's bolognese." Is that something from you and your sister worked out, or a recipe?
Yeah. So my sister's husband is Italian, and so they've been making a bolognese. They make everything, and her and I also, with the pizza, we've been making pizzas together for years and years, and that's why we've kind of perfected what the after one pizza is. That's kind of been our trial and error. But her bolognese, she kind of adopted from her husband, and we made it our own, and it's so good and just comforting for me. And when I wrote "Meant to Be," that's also a really true thing that I went through as well. Just a heartbreak song, and when I went through that heartbreak, I drank a lot of red wine, and I just ate a lot of comfort food that weekend where I was kind of falling apart. That's what I turned to, and so the bolognese was something I wanted to bring with that song. And it's so yummy, and it's actually very easy to make. I mean, you kind of throw it all in the pot and throw those crushed tomatoes in there and let it simmer. That's the key to the bolognese is letting it simmer. And I mean, I grew up with my dad making pasta sauce, and he would make it in the morning and just leave it on the stove all day, and it was just always so good when those flavors get all together in there.
Wow. So I know I can't wait to make these. They're amazing. I go, especially your curry chicken pasta salad. That video was I was watching it last night, and I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. I want to make this. And
it's so good, and it's great. I mean, it stays in the fridge, for a while. It stays good all week, and it's always a hit at parties. And I was a soccer player growing up too, and so when I played in college, we always, on Sunday games, we would have potlucks after each game, win or lose, and my mom would always bring the curry chicken pasta salad, and it was always a hit, especially after running for 90 minutes. It was like, give me all the carbs and protein, I need it. And yeah, the dressing is amazing. And it's funny because I've met a lot of people who either don't like curry, they're like, I don't like curry, I won't like it, and they love that pasta salad, or some people who don't like mayonnaise, but because the dressing is pretty mayonnaise based,
yes,
and they end up loving it. You just can't even taste the mayonnaise in it. Like, it's just such a hit. So definitely recommend. More of a summer, I would say more of like a summertime dish.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah, sounds amazing. You got this last song of yours, "Nothing With You." How do you pronounce that casserole? What is that?
So that is the funniest recipe in the cookbook, and that is all Logan Mize, but it's pronounced B-Rock casserole.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I had a couple ideas for the song "Nothing With You," but I just decided to text Logan, because Logan Mize and I, we did that song together. He took me on my first tour with him in the spring, and it was such a wonderful experience, and we're just great friends. And I said, hey, I'm doing this cookbook. You know, you totally don't have to, but if you have any recipes that you think, you know, you'd want me to include in the cookbook, I definitely will. And he took a couple of days to respond, and then he sends me this text and he says, okay, I have a recipe I made for my kids the other night and they absolutely loved it. It's called B-Rock casserole. And he's a Kansas boy. He's from the Midwest. And so it's basically a hot dish, which is what the Midwest is known for, these hot dishes. And it was so funny though, because I said, I'm not even going to practice. I'm not even going to see what it's like. I'm just going to make it for the first time on camera, and that'll be the YouTube video. So that's not out yet, but that video is so funny because, again, I'd never made it before, and Logan's directions, the way that he texted it to me, I just put that in the cookbook, and it's just some really funny, very not a professional recipe whatsoever, but I just thought it was so Logan, and it's so funny, and it's a great dish for the family. I made it. It's delicious. It's very, you know, you got the yummy croissant biscuits. It's salty and savory, and it's so good. But it was so funny to just make something that I had never made before and put it in the cookbook, just because I love Logan Mize, so it just made sense.
So will these YouTube videos come out when the songs come out, or how are you gonna do that?
So well, the songs are all out. You know,
Okay.
the EP was released, you know, over a month ago, but
Mm-hmm.
we're putting out each recipe one at a time, in the way that the EP has been going. And so it's just kind of more fun to put out content I think we're doing it every week. There's a new video out, but all the recipes are already out on my website. The cookbook's on my website, and anybody can download it. And so yeah, it's been really fun.
Woohoo! Well, also I like to talk to the songwriters and singers like yourself. Since you've
Yeah.
got this EP that's out, let's kind of briefly talk about all 7 of your songs. Brought a Girl. Who wrote
Oh
that? Did you
yes.
co-write it? Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, there's been, oh my gosh, so many people were involved in this project. I'm just so lucky to have had the guidance and the help with co-writers and producers and everybody. But yeah, so Brought a Girl is the first track on the EP, and it was written with Joy Beth Taylor and Sam Ellis and produced by Dan Fernandez. And this was a true story. I mean, I had gone to this party where I had made my mom's curry chicken pasta salad, and was really excited to see this guy, and he showed up with a girl, and it was just that feeling of, oh man, this sucks. It just was, you know, it just hurt. It was a tough night to get through, and the next day I had a write with Joy Beth and Sam, and I walked into that write and I said, hey guys, I just got to get something off my chest. You know, this thing happened to me yesterday. And they said, well, we should just write that story. And so that's what we did. So we wrote that story, and it ended up being my first single. And the music video actually is as real as it gets too, because again, I just felt like I had to, you know, just tell the story in real life. So the music video is actually filmed at the house where we had the party. A bunch of my friends in the music video were actually at that party where it all happened, and the guy in the music video who brings a girl is the guy who the song's about. So it's my friend Matt, and we're friends now, and everything's great. But I said, hey, do you want to be the guy in the music video? And he said, sure. So that's Brought a
See,
Girl.
I knew from watching you on TV you had a big heart, and it takes a special gal to have that forgiveness and have this guy in your video. Way to go!
Yeah. No, it's you know, it's all good. But so that's Brought a Girl.
The
And
one.
yeah, the second track on the EP is The One, and it's, oh gosh, I love that song. That ended up being the title track, or not the title track, that ended up being the focus track of the EP when it came out. And it was actually, I did not write that song. It was written by Shelby Darrow, Joey Hyde, and Mike Walker. But I got that song pitched to me, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, it's every time I play that song, everyone can relate to it. I mean, everyone's going to be the one before the one.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
either side. It's always going to happen. And I think that song does a great job of playing both those roles of, oh gosh, you know, it wasn't my turn this time, but you know, it all comes around. And I just absolutely love that song. The production that Dan Fernandez did on it was beautiful. And the music video that we did is also, you know, was a really cool, different concept for me. You know, my music videos are really important to me, and I put a lot of thought into the concept and the visual. So yeah, I'm really proud of that song.
It was phenomenal. I really liked it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let's talk about After One.
After One. Oh my gosh, I love that song. That's another heartbreak song. It's I wrote it with Kate Howell and Dan Fernandez, and yeah, we wrote it about that feeling of being, getting out of a relationship and that the hardships of moving on. And the moving on is harder when it's late at night. It's after 1 a.m. when you've had maybe one too many drinks, when you see that, one text on your phone or someone mentions their name and you're just kind of back into this spiral that, you really don't want to be in. So that's After One. And yeah, I love that song.
Wow. And then Meant to Be.
Meant to Be, yes. Talk a little bit about Meant to Be, and that's another heartbreak song about.
I love them.
Yeah, it's that one again. It's just I unfortunately, ghosting is a very familiar term for people right now, which is when someone just kind of stops talking to you out of the blue, and it leaves you really confused and with a lot of questions, and you kind of are going over things in your mind. And I wrote Meant to Be after a weekend of dealing with that, and I wrote it with Jared Hampton and Kate Howell, and yeah, I kind of told them what I was going through, and I said, it's so funny though, because when I talk to my mom or my friends, everyone keeps saying it's not meant to be, and that's not your person. And, when it's meant to be, it will be. And my mom also, since I was a little girl, always said, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so that's where that line in Meant to Be, a season for you, a lesson for me, not everything's meant to be. And so we wrote that song, and it's always been one of my favorites. Yeah, I feel like it has the production. I love the fiddle on there. I think it has kind of like a Chicks, almost just that, like really old 90s country to it. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, yeah, that song made me cry in a good way, And I'm getting all teared up right now.
Oh, yeah.
And then also the
That's
one.
good. That's what music's supposed to do.
Yeah, I know. And the ones before me made me cry because of losing Loretta Lynn.
Oh my goodness, I know. Yeah, that one hit home for me too. I actually performed a show that night that we lost Loretta, and it was nice to you have these legends in your songs, and it's always crazy to sing their name, and I've had a lot of influences on me and my artistry and country music, and she's definitely one of them. But Ones Before Me, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that song. It is always so much fun to play live. It just, from the production that Dan did on it, and so many great players on it, and obviously just mentioning all the country greats that have come before me. It's just such a fun song to sing, and yeah, I absolutely love it. So
yeah.
And the music video for that one is probably my favorite, because I got to just dress up as all these different country artists, and we had a blast. So if you haven't seen the music video, it's a fun one.
You should be winning awards for these videos.
Thank you. Maybe someday.
I know. Oh my gosh. 1,000 Miles from Nowhere.
Yes, 1,000 Miles. Oh my gosh. It is just such an iconic song.
Right.
Dwight Yoakam, again,
I love it.
He's one of my favorites. And Jared Hampton produced that, and it was such a fun day when we got in the studio, and he was so excited to do 1,000 Miles, and he had some really cool ideas. And I said, I want to keep the Dwight Yoakam structure. I don't want to mess with it too much. I know doing covers can be really touchy. I was like, I want to keep the foundation that is Dwight Yoakam, but I want to add some Grace Leer to it. I want to, give it a little bit of a different feel, kind of a desert country, vibe to it, and modernize it a little bit, but again, still keep that 90s in it. And I think he just absolutely nailed it. So we had so much fun doing that song, and I think it just takes people to a certain place, and
yeah, it took me back to Bakersfield. I love Dwight Yoakam, and thank you for doing that. It was great.
Yeah.
You did an amazing job on that one.
Thank you.
And then your last one, Nothing With You.
Nothing With You, Logan Mize. Yes. Oh my gosh. That song, I mean, it's going so great, and people seem to love it, and it was so fun to perform on the road with Logan. But it's funny because Logan had, he had recorded it himself, and he just thought it was missing something, and he could just see it being a duet, and he sent it to me, and I I said, yeah, oh my gosh, of course I want to sing on this with you. It's amazing, and you're amazing, and huge fan. And I said, so what do you want me to sing on? Do you want me to sing just like some harmonies? And he was like, no, you can take a verse if you want. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm happy to take a verse. So, and it was just so funny because we hadn't met in person, and I went and like did my vocal on my own, and Dan Adji just did a great job producing it, and it just ended up being wonderful. So just really grateful to that Logan allowed me to be on that song with him, and yeah.
Oh, you did a
I
great
miss going
job.
on the road with him. I miss that guy. So hopefully we'll be doing some more shows here soon.
Oh, we hope so. So let's spend a little bit of time talking about you. Let's talk about your upbringing, when you knew you could sing. You've got that beautiful voice, and any instruments you might play. Let's talk all about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I mean, I don't really play many instruments. I play guitar a little bit,
Okay.
but did you say my upbringing?
Yeah, like you're raised here
Yeah,
in California, and now you're in Nashville. Let's kind of talk about all that transition
yeah,
and
yeah. So I was born and raised in California, in the Bay Area, Danville to be
mm-hmm.
specific, is my hometown.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm the baby of 4 kids, and we had a
Nice.
pretty big household. And I got into music super young. I started singing when I was 6 years old, and just absolutely fell in love with being on stage.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably my first love, was singing songs on stage with a microphone, and being able to connect to an audience was something I realized at a very young age was a God-given gift, and just very special and unique. And I knew it was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I started honing in on that craft pretty young as well. At 10 years old, I started taking vocal lessons, and just, wanting to really tap into this voice that I had. But at the same time, I was also playing competitive soccer. So
Wow.
I kind of had this sports thing going on, and singing, and yeah, just kind of being a normal kid in a small town in Danville. And that was pretty much my childhood, was balancing all those different things and wanting to excel at each one at a very high level. So when it came to high school, I remember having an opportunity to kind of quit school and just go after music 100%. And I decided to not do that because I just felt like I wasn't ready. I felt like there was still a lot of life I wanted to live. I still really loved soccer, and I didn't want to stop playing. So then I started getting sought out for soccer scholarships. Ended up receiving a scholarship to play at UC Berkeley in California. And it was funny because at one point I was like, Mom, maybe I don't want to go to college. And then you get an offer like that, and she's like, haha, you're going to college.
See?
Yes, and you're going to a #1 university in the country.
No
I'm like,
kidding.
okay, fine. So yeah, it was little things like that in my life that I think, looking back, I'm so grateful that I kind of had the time to come into my own and experience life a little bit, just so that it prepared me for so much of what is now my life, between the music industry and having to have this work ethic and, a slight competitiveness as well, but more so with myself now being in the industry. And, just the ability to be coached, to learn, to better myself and push myself. I think I get a lot from my sports background.
Yeah.
And just having that different, mentality. But yeah, and then after college, I kind of didn't know where to begin, because I felt like I had this list that I was just trying to check off before I could say, okay, Grace, you're ready to go 100% into music. Like now you can do it. So I checked off all the things, high school soccer, Cal soccer, degree, great. And I never stopped singing. It was always singing, and music was the end all be all for me. It's all I ever wanted. But I graduated, and I said, oh my gosh, where do I even begin? Like, how do you even start this? So I ended up just singing all over the Bay Area. I put a country band together with one of my really good friends, Kyle Klaus, and we started a country band and started writing. And one day I turned to him after, a year or two of doing that, and I said, I think we need to move to Nashville. I think that's the only place where we're really going to thrive and, be around something that's going to make us better and get to the next level. And he said, okay. So we ended up moving to Nashville. I got a sales job, and was doing music, with the band with Kyle on nights and weekends. We were playing. I was emailing every single place that would let us play, and just trying to, make both things work. But I still had this kind of steady job, and just because I was nervous to completely let go of a steady life, and so a couple years into living in Nashville, I auditioned for American Idol, and then that completely changed my life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Jeez, that's pretty full circle.
Yeah, and I think American Idol, was that kind of thing that just you live in Nashville, and you kind of start to wonder if it's ever going to happen, and you have these. I had so many nights calling my mom, just thinking, it's never going to happen. What am I doing here? Am I even good enough? It's so saturated with country artists, beautiful, talented, country female artists. It's tough to just get noticed. And American Idol was that thing that got me noticed. And that day of those judges, someone like Katy Perry saying, just validating that I'm not crazy for chasing these dreams that I've had since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I kind of needed that moment, whether I had made top 10 or not. I still look back and I'm like, that first audition was all that I needed to know. Okay, this is it. Like this is what I meant to do. And I'm not crazy for having these dreams or going after this career that is so tough and, long. But, yeah, I'm just really grateful for American Idol and what it did for me. And post Idol, it's been, just even more hard work in terms of getting in the writing room, figuring out my brand, my artistry, how to get my, those messages across through my music, and just connecting further with people. And all I ever want to do is write and create music that people can relate to and connect to. And at each and every show, I try to just look into their eyes and hold their hands and hug them after the show. And it's a community, the country music it's life. It's going through heartbreak and figuring out life together. So,
yeah, who's some of your top idols right now in the country field?
Oh my gosh, so many. Gosh, right now, I mean, I absolutely love Lainey Wilson. I love Ashley McBride. I love. I've always loved Miranda Lambert.
Yes.
Nate Smith is one of my really good friends, and he's doing amazing things right now in country music. And yeah, there's so many.
Oh, that's great.
So many, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So let our listeners, how do we find you socially on social media?
Yeah, social media, you can find me on just Grace Leer Music, everything Grace Leer Music. And yeah, would love to just, I love to share my life on there, whether it's cooking or music or going on a run. Yeah, I love the social media world to connect with my fans. So that's where you can find me.
Great, we can get this cookbook. That's amazing, folks, and you've got to check her out and see her do it. It's just I love that kitchen. Everything is great. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Did a great job. And we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. Thanks for your support.